Thank you. And I got to get it over to Facebook. So please talk amongst yourselves.
All right, who's on one?
Who's
Yeah.
on one?
11
Yeah.
participants. It's more than 4.
But you guys have seen a lot of fruit this year. I took some time and went around York Mountain yesterday. And
Oh, we have a lot of, yeah.
yeah,
We're selling a bunch though, which is really exciting. Just some awesome.
Well, that's good.
Did you get much rain this yesterday, Monday?
I think we got the same as everyone else sort of did. It was just kind of like it wasn't more wet than a really misty morning, you know, but it was great. I mean, I want more, but no lightning.
Right.
I think I washed my truck the day before and then driving through the dust with the rain.
It was not.
How it always works, right?
That's right.
I would like an early rain this year. That might be nice.
Yeah,
I'd like any rain this year.
I really need it.
Let's toast to that. Let's have some rain this year.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sure.
Not that I can order that up, but that would be nice, you know. Mother Nature.
Okay, looks like we are on Facebook land and we're live here on the Zoom side of things. So we'll let Facebook catch up to us as they are on a little time delay. And so we'll let people find it and get on to listen in and watch. And it looks like we have a comment. You can have our rain. Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
From Columbus, Ohio. Again, thank you again for joining us, knowing that you guys are watching. But looks like you guys have had a lot of action over there for weather. So, a 17 veracity is what they are having.
That's what I'm having.
Oh.
No joke.
You guys like it?
Absolutely. I put mine in the fridge for a second and got it to 55. It's perfect for 3 in the afternoon. It's perfect anytime, but hitting the spot. As long as my teeth don't go too purple in the middle of the show, we'll be all right.
But, all right, I get it on my lips too. Get all the cracks.
You don't have cracks in your lips. You're too beautiful for that.
If I drink wine, it's the wine. It dries them out.
Like a moisturizer.
Exactly. It's like anti-moisturizer. Oh,
What a coincidence we're drinking the same wine. That's class.
That's
really
great.
cool. And then I'm drinking, I always call it rosé because, well, except for the 2020, it's usually Mourvedre Grenache with a little bit of Syrah, just like the veracity. So it's like the antithesis or whatever, the alter ego of the veracity.
That's cool. Okay, so we've given it a couple minutes and I'm waiting for the crew, if you will, JB and the backside of things to let me know that we are good to go over on the Facebook side of things. So we'll just give it another second actually. And sipping on a Chamacel over in Chicago. Mike, we're going to be in Chicago one of these days soon in October. We'll let you know on a future show. So, but yes, exactly. At least it's SLO County. And I don't know, maybe Chamacel something, Lorraine, you guys even distribute? I don't know.
No, we did years ago when it was Domaine Alfred.
Uh-huh.
But then when it went over to the Crimson Group, they have their own network with Owen and Pine Ridge and all these big. So there was Southern. But I had a glass of their rosé this weekend down in Long Beach, Laguna area. I like the rosé a lot. It's a great vineyard. It's one of the only vineyards left in the Edna Valley. You drive through now and it's all citrus.
Yeah.
Have you driven down Orchid Road lately and seen how many vineyards have been ripped out? It's all citrus and some avocados.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Huh.
But Chamacel's still there.
Yeah, good.
And some of the Paragon vineyards are still there, but a lot of them are gone.
All right, looks like we have an audience over on Facebook side of things. So hey, everyone, welcome back to a Paso Wine Hour. I'm Chris with the Paso Wine Alliance, pasowine.com. And yeah, we took last week off and I'll already tell you we're taking next week off too, because I'm going to be out of town. Actually, I'll be on the East Coast. And then we also have our member barbecue. So we're starting to get busy again with some live in-person events here at the Paso Wine Alliance. Just as a quick reminder, the Wine Alliance, of course, we are that marketing organization that markets the Paso Robles AVA, but we also have a membership where we provide a lot of services too. And then all the people, of course, on the screen today are members or involved with the Wine Alliance in one way, shape, form, or another. And so as we're getting busy again, we're going to start looking at our schedule to see how we're going to continue the Paso Wine Hours. We might be moving to like an every other week type of thing where we're just kind of having to look at things as I also start to travel again as things are opening up. So with that being said, let's introduce this panel of guests today. It's based on the SLO County Wine Awards. I'll get into what that is after we give everybody just a quick second to say hello. I'd love to start with Jordan Fiorentini from Epoch. Hi, Jordan. You've been on before, so welcome back.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Right on. Lucas Pope with Coastal Vineyard Services.
Howdy, everybody. It's nice to be here and join you. Super excited about this whole wine awards and the process. So really happy to be here.
Cool. Right on. And Lorriane Alban with J&L Wines.
Cheers. Happy to be here too. Honored.
Cool.
Great.
So the wine awards are essentially this thing that happens every year at the Mid-State Fair. So the fair is actually going on right now. We have a whole live program that happens there where we're up on stage and we do these, big to-do of awards. How these awards happen is that the entire industry within the San Luis Obispo County wine industry, that is, they nominate and then they actually award or vote on who winners are, who ends up being the winemaker of the year, the wine grower of the year, and then the wine industry person of the year. And these awards have been going on for, I think it's 20 years-ish or so. I might have to get back to you on that one. But it's been going on for quite some time now. And it's definitely something that everybody is involved in. We are involved in it as the Paso Wine Alliance, the SLO County Wine Coastal, what is it?
SLO Coast Wine Collective or Wine
Thank you.
Alliance, something like that.
SLO Coast Wine Collective. Thank you. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to say their old name. I'm trying to get used to the newer name. They're a part of it. The Independent Grape Growers Association of Paso Robles are a part of it. Vineyard team, as well as past awardees. Everybody, all of those boards and all of those awardees are all basically polled to say, who do you nominate? And so it's really the industry saying these people are deserve it. And why are they deserve it? It's because what they've been doing in their jobs, what they've been doing as part of this community has helped to elevate the kind of the brand awareness, if you will, of this entire community being the San Luis Obispo County wine region as a whole. And of course, Paso is within that region. And so these three individuals were recognized. We have Jordan Fiorentini with Epoch Wine Estates recognized as the winemaker of the year. We have Lucas Pope from Coastal Vineyard Services recognized as the wine grower of the year. And then we have Lorraine Alban of J&L Wines recognized as the wine industry person of the year. Before we get into all of that, cheers, you guys. Congratulations.
Cheers.
Because I know you don't have anything. That's fine. We're good.
Yes, please. Thank you, Jordan. You got my back.
Lucas has some commitments afterward with some clients, and so I'm just gonna go to bat for the guy to say that he's not having
my water. Yep.
As the usual Paso Wine Hour has, that we're doing a little day drinking while we're talking. We're gonna give Lucas a pass, but I'd love for you to talk a little bit first, though, about the award, a little bit of what it means to you, some of your background as to how you got here and this recognition.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm so honored to be a part of this whole thing. And then when I saw the announcement or got the first call from Joel, and he told me it was Jordan and Lorraine with me, I was blown away. I was just like, I couldn't ask for being included in a better group of folks. And it's such an honor just to know that our community around here has selected us and supports us. And I was selected for the Wine Enthusiast 40 Under 40 a few years ago, and that was really cool on a big, broad scale. Being in a magazine's fun and that kind of thing. But coming in our home community where we all work and live, and being honored like this is the outpouring of support and congratulations has been phenomenal, and it means so much that I'm just honored to be here. And it's it's fun to look over the list of past winners and see, oh man, I've worked with those folks before, or even like last year was Will and Daryl John. My first job out of college was driving a harvest machine for Will John, and the other harvest machine, because at that point he only owned 2 machines, was Daryl in the other one, and I was in one harvest machine, and it was just fun to see and see those guys at the wine awards too. There's so many people who show up, and we haven't been around our community very much. At least, our family's been pretty isolated with 3 kids and COVID and all that, and it's been the award ceremony was awesome to see people and spend time with people and just kind of catch up.
Yeah, we had a few Paso Award winners. I know Gary Eberly was there. I think Simon Graves was also in attendance, and a few many others. And just put into context, and some of you watching, maybe you're local, and so you'll hear these names and understand who they are. But those of you out of the area, I'll try to add a little context to it. But we started these awards in 1998 is how we have it, when they became this full San Luis Obispo County award. And back then we just did winemaker and wine grower. The first winemaker to win was Kenny Volk. And then Jim Elfred was the wine grower. But over the years, looking at some of the growers, we had Don Talley, the Pebble Smith and family, Richard Surrett, of course, Howie Steinbeck and Steinbeck family, Steve Carter from J. Lore, all of these people that have all kind of been part of the growth of this industry. Granted, a lot of those names, of course, are kind of Paso based, but as we keep going over the years, you hear a lot more of the San Luis Obispo County folks from Edna Valley and other places also recognized. And it's a cool honor, and I'm so stoked for you, Lucas, to have been honored.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is.
Yeah. Jordan, you were the winemaker of the year. And so last and Lucas had brought this up last year, as far as the award, Joe Barton. Previous to that, Justin Smith from Saxum. Previous to that was John Munch from Lake Cuvier, and the names just keep going. And I mean, what a cool honor to have. But I was looking back, and honestly, I think you might be the first female to be honored with this award, I believe. I'm looking at the list. I think you are. We didn't see that at the awards the other day.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I didn't realize that either, but that's awesome. I mean, it's been almost in such a good way overwhelming with all the outpouring of support, like Luke said. Like, people all over the country hear about it and they're just so excited. So I mean, the award is so great, and then the response to the award also, it's like this just afterglow. I was saying I wish I could just like package up some of it and like stick it in my pocket as a leftover and pull out little bits, like maybe during harvest, like little notes or little congratulations. It's just been so awesome. And I think having the award ceremony at the fair, which we all love, and we weren't able to go to last year, just made it so special. And being surrounded by Lucas and Lorraine, and then past winners, and then family and friends and people from the companies we work with or work for. It just was so awesome.
And it was definitely a family affair. You had, of course, your husband there, daughter, then also your Epoch family, and that was epic in and of itself. I think everybody from Epoch took over like one whole half of the audience seating.
Many of you guys know Epoch. Yeah, we came out full force, and Bill and Liz Armstrong flew in for that event, and they weren't planning. They're supposed to be somewhere else, but they came in. They were just so excited, and they love this industry as well, and they love the fair. And one thing that I think is really cool, I feel like we're all connected, Lucas, Lorraine, and I, and luckily for me, I get to work with both these individuals, and I have for a long time. The vineyard management company that Lucas works with, we use in our vineyards and for our labor. And then Lorraine And Epic have had a relationship. She sells our wine on the Central Coast through her company J&L. Gosh, since the beginning. I mean, I think
First vintage, yeah.
vintage. I think it's people like I think Lorraine was our first distributor that made us feel like we were like big time, like a real wine company when we had a distributor. And that was 2007 vintage. So yeah, it's just been such a great ride. And you reflect back on all those moments when you know, with this honor. It's so fun.
That's great. Lorraine, industry person of the year. So often the industry person happens to be somebody that works in a winery. It might be like a, you know, an owner or something of that sort, or maybe it's like a family that's recognized. And rarely do we get somebody that's not actually associated with a brand. And in your case, the first distributor that's ever been you know, recognized, and rightfully so, considering your place in helping people, helping wineries in this area actually get their wine out into consumer hands through distribution has been amazing. When you go to your client list, it's like the who's who of wineries.
I pinch myself too when I look at that list. I really do. It's mind-boggling.
It is, and I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, not to contradict you at all, but Jeannie Eberly received this award back in the day. I forget how many years. I think I was working for her at the time. So maybe 17, 18 years ago. You could probably tell me from your.
You know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I
don't mean to correct you, but I just
no, it's okay. It was 2004.
Yeah. So she's a huge part. I mean, I had, you know, a lot of help. Tom Martin, of course, and he's very special to me, and we'll talk about him a little later, hopefully. But, you know, Jeannie did start this thing. She was married to Gary. There was Peachy Canyon, there was York Mountain, there was Pizzenti, of course, Eberle, Estrella back then. And Jeannie would go around delivering Gary's wine in the back of her Mercedes Benz. And then Doug Beckett came up and said, well, if you're selling and delivering his wine, why don't you sell mine? And then the Pizzentis came to her, and she pretty much had the 5 wineries that were Paso Robles in the day. And, you know, it just kind of morphed from there. And then I started working with her, and there were 4 salespeople. Now we've got 14, but, you know, I want to take my hat off to her too, because it was a huge springboard for me, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I
sorry, I feel bad correcting it.
No, it's okay. And that's true, is that she was one of the very first, actually, from outside of what it would have been, and I think actually looking at it, the first from outside of what would have been a brand and been a business that would be, you know, in support of the industry. So, I mean, that's fantastic after looking at that. So let's talk a little bit though, Lorraine, you bring up a couple of interesting subjects, and we could talk about distributorship and what it is that you guys do for the industry. But, you know, I love your backstory. I've read your bio a few times. I helped to craft the governmental resolutions that all of you got. I helped craft those. And when reading through your bio, it was really, I mean, I think there's so much more story than there was, but I'd love for you to share with everybody a little bit of your trajectory into this area, this region, and how you are where you are today.
Well, I grew up in a little town 9 miles east of Belfast in Northern Ireland. My family had a grocery store that was kind of like the mom and pop store. The doctors would drop off their shopping list, and then we would put it in a box, and I would deliver it. Not only deliver, I would put them in their cabinets for them. It was a full service grocery store. And I worked there since I was 11 and really grew up working. And it gave me a great work ethic. And I really always was interested in just doing that, not just delivering the groceries, but then putting them away or making the old lady a cup of tea while I was there. We were very much about full service. And that kind of just put in my mind that, you know, my husband has a winery, John Alban, and I deal with distributors, you know, or hear him with distributors, and not to bash any other distributors. There's lots of great distributors. We're not the only one, but there are also so many who just don't do enough, or take brands for granted, or feel that the brand owes them something. And I've always tried to run J&L like every single brand is my own winery. That what do they deserve? Where do they need to be? Not something that's, you know, gonna better service my company, but what's going to be best for them. So I kind of learned that from growing up in a small grocery store that my parents owned. We don't have all day, so I'm not going to tell you how I got here, but my dad was in foster care as a child, and he found his full brother, same mother, same father, when my dad was 52 and my Uncle Brian was 50. And my Uncle Brian was born in New York, moved to Chicago, and then was working at the California Men's Colony in San Luis Obispo, living in Atascadero. So in 1989, I came over here, met my family for the first time, absolutely fell in love with the area. I went home, I took 3 jobs bartending. I continued to work for my parents because I told my uncle, America's it. You know, I love Ireland. And I love my family. But there's something about this country that is just, it's like nowhere else in the world. And I saw the American dream and I said to my uncle, I want to move here. I want to live here. And he goes, okay, we can go to the up to San Francisco to the American embassy and we'll get you a green card. You can stay. I'll take care of you. Little did we know it doesn't work anything like that. So I could only, I had to go home, but I told my parents and they were really supportive. After a little, you know, when they really realized that I was serious about this, they said, okay, you know, we'll support you. And I came over and I took a summer job with Tom and Nick Martin at Martin Brothers. And I absolutely loved it. I stayed for 6 months because that's all my visa would allow. And then I went home and Tom said, you have to come back. And when you come back, we want to, you know, take you to the next level. We want you to be our California sales manager. Well, I'd been in California for 6 months. But he saw something in me, as Tom does in so many people. And I did come back. And because they were working with Italian varieties, Nebbiolo, Sangiovese, and I had some experience in Ireland, of course, we drank Spanish, Italian, very little California wine. They sponsored me as an Italian wine specialist. And that's kind of how I got my start there. They were able to bring me over and I worked for them for a long time, for 7 years doing that, until I got a little burned out with driving and stuff. And I met Jeannie because Jeannie was, you know, the local distributor for Martin Brothers. So she and I got very close. And then when I one day was saying, you know, I really am kind of tired of leaving every Sunday morning and coming back Thursday night, the time before cell phones, emails, you spent Friday making appointments, half of which people didn't show up for. And she offered me a job to come join her. And that's kind of how I started J. Eberly Wines, and kind of all just morphed from there.
Yeah.
But this country is just, you know, if you had a soapbox, I would be on it, because we're not perfect, but you know, it's still an amazing place if you want to work hard, and it's a great best in the world, only place.
Your love for it is so palpable, and through this little medium that we have here, it's like hitting me. That's awesome. Thank you, Lorraine, for sharing that story. Jordan, you had a little time in Italy as well, but your time and trajectory into Paso also came in this kind of interesting and roundabout way. I'd love for you to share that.
Okay, definitely. I first want to say, Lorraine, the way she's so spot on, the way she talks about how she deals with all her clients, because a lot of times with distributors, and again, not to knock anyone, but it's about like, what can you do for me? Like, who are you in the world? How many cases of yours can I move? How am I going to make money off of that? But that is not how Lorraine runs her business, and everyone is different, and I love that. Anyway, I could go on about that, but so my story, let's see. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. My father loved wines. That's how I knew about it, because otherwise, especially back when I was younger, people enjoyed wine, but didn't realize it was a profession that you could actually do, especially someone from Georgia. And went to school in New England. And when I finished, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I thought I would just go work a harvest in Napa for fun, because I knew that existed, and then I'd come back and figure out the rest of my life. and moved to, I went to Napa for the 99 harvest. I worked at Markham Vineyards, which is the heyday of Merlot back then, which I think Merlot is coming back. Maybe Lorraine can attest to that or not, I'm not sure, but it was before the movie Sideways. So Merlot was hot and Markham was happening, and Napa was so different than it is today, but it was still Napa. And I just fell in love with the industry. And I also had studied Italian as an undergrad, and I wanted to find a way to get back to Italy. So I took my love of this new industry and my desire to go to Italy, and I kind of put them together. I found a master's degree program I wanted to attend at UC Davis. I was super young. I was in my early 20s, but I knew I wanted to be in wine, and I knew I wanted to go back to Italy, and that program would allow me both. You have blinders on, I think, at that time of life. And it was like, check those 2 boxes, there you go. And I guess, I didn't realize how much good fortune would come from this amazing industry. But I went to Davis. I got to work the 2002 harvest in Tuscany at Antinori, where I met my husband. He didn't work at the winery, but I met him through some family friends. He lived in Siena at the time. And then that sort of set the course for the rest of everything. We decided to move back to the United States together. My father had actually at that time started a vineyard and winery in the North Georgia mountains.
Wow.
Since we could both have jobs there, we both moved back there initially and worked and kind of got that off the ground with him. And our first daughter was born in Georgia, but then eventually wanted to move to California. So I ended up getting a job in Sonoma County at Chalk Hill. And Manu started working for an Italian-American winery equipment importer. And that was all in Sonoma County. And then loved where I was working. Everything was awesome, but the sort of financial issues of 2007 occurred, and the winery I worked for looked like it was going to sell to a larger corporation. And I knew I was probably not quite perfect to be a corporate winemaker. So I started looking at other options, but I really didn't look very far because I just kind of caught wind of this job at Epoch Estate Wines down in Paso. I had no idea really what Paso was back then, except for I had 2 close friends that had gone to Cal Poly and were completely obsessed with this county. So I thought I would take a look and never look back. So came here, met with Bill and Liz Armstrong at the Paderewski Vineyard, and fell in love with the possibility of working for them and developing this brand and being able to oversee the vineyards and the winemaking. Actually brought, we were one of, I think we were Kevin Wilkinson's first client, which is who Lucas works with. He decided to bring his vineyard, start a vineyard management company basically up in South and North County in San Luis Obispo. And just kind of, it's been just an awesome partnership with so many people. Lucas and Lorraine definitely at the top of those lists.
Well, I have to say, my husband has a huge man crush on your husband, Manu. He thinks the world of him.
Likewise.
We've bought equipment, but
that's
he just loves, adores that man.
Well, the feeling is definitely mutual. And my husband's a gadget guy, so he's now importing equipment, barrels and tanks from Europe, and has a mobile wine treatment company. So he's doing his thing, and we're like, it's kind of like Lorraine and John, we are 100% in wine. And I think Lucas and Nicole, like dinner table conversations is like all about wine.
That's because this isn't a job, it's a lifestyle. If you treat it like a job, then it's work. But when it's your lifestyle and it's what you do, obviously we all have families and, we have life outside wine, but it makes it really easy to do well if you live and breathe it and it's who you are as opposed to what you do.
And it's really easy to make it a lifestyle and have it be so rewarding in this area. I have to say that because I know, not that it's not up north, it's just that the community here, when I moved down in 2010, just welcomed me, everyone, with open arms. And I know it's different because I worked in other winemaking communities that were great for different reasons, but had a totally different community feel.
Absolutely. And that's why we all settled here, I think. It's because this place is amazing and the people are amazing and our industry is second to none. And I see why so many people looking in from the outside, so many people love and they idolize the winemakers and the folks who are in the industry. And it seems like it's a lot of hard work, but it's an ideal lifestyle. You know, we're all eating good food, we're drinking good coffee, having great wine, enjoying great beer. And everybody just seems to enjoy their lives here on the Central Coast so much. It's phenomenal.
It's a great place to be. You identified it early, Lucas, as someplace you wanted to be because you went to Cal Poly, and then you kind of left.
Yeah, it was a full departure for a little while ish. Yeah, I studied mechanical engineering at Cal Poly. I grew up in Japan, so I didn't really have experience in the States. We would travel. My parents worked for the US government for the Department of Defense. So we would come back to the States 3 weeks, 4 weeks a year. And that was my glimpse into life in America. I grew up on Okinawa, which is a tiny, tiny island. It's 60 miles long. Its widest point's 15 miles wide. Just a little rock speck in the ocean. And this was a big, scary world when I first came over. So it was just very interesting. Yeah, from Okinawa to Cal Poly engineering, I really wanted to be like a race car mechanic. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And mechanical engineering wasn't exactly that. There's a lot more computer work involved and really, really high level math. And yeah, at some point in year 2 or 3, it was, how the heck do I get out of here faster? And I found horticulture because I just like being outside. And then I caught wind of the viticulture program evolving into a major. And I switched over to viticulture and graduated first class of it from Cal Poly and met Kevin while I was at Cal Poly. We, back then, I remember his retirement from Tally. We called it his retirement party, but he was a small group of people having a few beers, maybe some whiskey around a table. And at that point, Nicole and I were there. Christine Peters, who's our office manager, was there. And then Travis Monk, who used to be at Tally and passed away tragically in an accident, was there. And Kevin stood up and it was in the group and just kind of said, you know, someday we're going to have a company. And he looked at Christine, Travis, and I was at that point, I was just like, there's no way. There is no way. We're worlds apart. But yeah, it all came full circle and I'm here and loving it. And yeah, it's been a great ride.
Yeah, you went up to Santa Cruz for a little bit though, right?
I did. Yeah, right out of college, worked to harvest for Will John, who was Will and Daryl, who were the last recipients of the Grape Grower Award. And then started a business in Santa Cruz. I was actually traveling through Nepal and Tibet with my wife and brother, and a friend from college texted. Somehow we had service over there and just said, hey, we've got some interest and people want to put in small vineyards around their houses. Do you want to be partners? And I remember being all fired up in the middle of nowhere and just, yeah, on the spot decided, yep, let's do this. And we started a vineyard management company. It's still going strong today. I sold my stake in that and went to Africa with Nicole. And that's where we got engaged and had a good time doing a harvest kind of in a remote part of Africa, the Robertson Valley, a couple hours outside Cape Town. You know, here we deal with deer in the vineyard eating our grapes, and there it was baboons and beautiful protea flowers everywhere, all around the mountainsides. Just it was an amazing experience. We would hike every morning. There was a big reservoir, you know, the porcupine quills that people sell that are really big and they're black and white. We would just find those on our walks. I mean, we brought handfuls back with us. Yeah, and then came back and was working on a remodel project for my parents at their house in San Luis, and then decided it was time to jump back in. My wife, Nicole, got a job at Tally, and I started at SLO Vineyards at that point. We spent some time in Cambria, living in a double wide. Really enjoyed the experience. Very challenging place to grow grapes, but it was super rewarding because Nicole was making the wine and I was farming, and we were able to do a project. And you know, it's just rewarding to see the fruits of the labors when things turn out well. And you know, it's all good intentions all the time, and then it actually comes to fruition. Was very rewarding.
That's cool. Today you guys still have a brand together though.
We do. We launched a brand this year. Nicole's experience, we met in Cal Poly a long time ago. We're friends for 10 years, dated for 5 years. And then last week, week and a half ago, we celebrated our 10-year anniversary. So we decided a long time ago when she was in Napa working at Domaine Carneros, that's when I was launching the company in Santa Cruz. She would bring samples of sparkling wine home most nights. And it went from something that was just a celebration to something that became part of our daily lives of evaluating sparkling wine and why we liked it and the attributes that we really, really enjoyed. And then we decided, all right, let's start something ourselves, just see what goes on. And we need to make sure that if it doesn't sell, because she and I are not salespeople, we can consume all the product ourselves, or we'd be delighted to consume the product ourselves and then give it away. But it's been super successful. We started out with only a small run of 40 or 50 cases. It sold out in 5 days. We're releasing the next vintages in the future, coming up hopefully in fall. Just sparkling wine takes a lot. It's a long aging process. We hand riddle everything. We hand tirage everything, hand cork and cage everything. It's a process. So a lot of time.
What's the name of the brand?
Haliotide is the name of the brand, and we chose the name because it's the family name for abalone. And Nicole, the last season abalone was open. I used to go abalone diving every single year up north of Fort Bragg. And then the last season it was actually open. We didn't know it was going to close after that. Nicole came up with a family and she got in the water with me and she dove with me. And I hope there's no Fish and Game listening, but I remember getting in the water with her and she was, a little freaked out. It's cold, it's dark, it's just different. I dove down, I got my limit really quickly. And then I went down, I grabbed one and I handed it to her. And she looked at me and she's like, no, that's not going to happen. And I put it back and she went and she got 2 days in a row limits. And it was just a phenomenal experience to be doing something like that with your spouse. And that was back when we had 2 kids, I think. It's hard to remember. That was either 1 or 2 were with us at that point. I think Avery the younger was just learning to walk. Life's been good. I feel blessed. I mean, it's just a phenomenal. And I do want to share a story about Lorraine.
Please.
In all honesty, she probably doesn't know her reputation for working hard, and just listening to her explain her life. In a former life, I worked at an estate, and I would travel and sell wine for them a couple of weeks a year. And we always knew if someone, we make appointments to go out and work different parts of the market. And Lorraine has a reputation for, if somebody calls in sick, it doesn't matter if it's Fresno, Bakersfield, wherever that person calls in sick, Lorraine goes and works the market and does their job for the day and holds their appointments. And it's phenomenal to think of somebody who's accomplished and so far up in a company. There is no bars hold. We're going to do the right job. We're going to take care of our people. And she has a great reputation around.
Appreciate that very much.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, right on. Good on you, Lorraine. That's amazing. Because
that's what I love to do. I didn't start, didn't build this company to sit behind a desk. I did it because I love the food and wine community. I love being a part of that restaurant and, getting my wines on the list and seeing how they pair with the food and, watching the servers walk away with an $80 bottle of wine that they just sold. And it's an amazing, I've been doing this for a long time. The salesman's high is, underrated because it never goes away. If you love what you do and you love your community and the people you work with and you want to help restaurants and retailers and elevate, and you don't ever want to tell them how to run their program or what to do, but if they invite you in and they ask and together you build something, there's nothing better other than kids and family and, but professionally, there's no better feeling than helping these wineries and these restaurants and retailers really make it.
Yeah, so the company just celebrated 40 years. Is that right?
Yep.
40 years. And what's the territory? Because if as Lucas was saying, if somebody's over in Fresno, I mean, that's not really close. You're not just like, oh, okay, I'll just jump over to Fresno for something. I mean, you have a big territory.
Well, as my husband would say, and I hope that you were saying the Fish and Game, no, I'm hoping the California Highway Patrol, but my husband always says, such cute feet are so heavy on the pedal. Just depends. No, it is a far way, but you know, it's what you do. It's my sales team. I take my hat. You know, most of them have been with me a long time, and we are a team. And whether it's a new restaurant opening or somebody who's having a baby or somebody whose dog just passed away, whatever it is, you know, you work together and you go do these things, and it's fun for me. I don't see it as work. I see it as working as a team. So yeah, but you asked me that question. We'd go from Fresno down to Bakersfield, including Visalia. We cover Mammoth. And then we go to Moss Landing in the north. So we don't go into Santa Cruz, but Monterey County, and then down to Westlake Village, which is the LA border. So the Central Coast, you know, and Central California, the San Joaquin Valley. And there are a lot of people here love local wine, and there's great restaurants here and a wonderful wine scene, retail as well. And, you know, hats off to these distilleries now too, that are bringing another whole, you know, reason for people to come to Paso. And it's just another whole reason to talk about this area, and not just Paso, but the whole San Luis Obispo County, but most of them are in Paso, I think, the distillery.
Talk a little bit about how you've seen this industry grow in your time here, because
oh my gosh,
you know, you've referenced one of our pioneers, our like OG pioneers, being Tom Martin, who was a great guy. I was fortunate enough to meet him when I came to the area. He was part of an interview panel in 03, I think it was, or 2, when I got a job over at as the director of tourism for Paso. And he was so well respected. Now you've seen, you know, things evolve from Martin Brothers now to where we are today with so many other brands. Share a little bit of how you've seen this area grow.
Well, back then, you know, a lot of the wines in Paso all tasted the same. Everybody bought the same barrels, and everybody used the same regimes. And, you know, there's a lot of similarities that ran through the wines. And then as people diversified a little bit, as we got some credibility, and, you know, the Wine Enthusiast, even Wine Spectator, and some of these other critics, and now of course Jeb Dunnock and what Hospice du Rhone has done to bring Jeb here every year is incredible. But you know, we got a stamp of approval. We used to be always, and we still are somewhat, Napa's little brother, sister. Of course, we don't get the same prices as they do, but it's just, you know, it's not just the wine scene, because you can have terrific wine, but without the restaurants, you're never going to be a destination. And again, back to Tom Martin, he saw that. Lorraine now has taken that on too, with her whole, you know, these wonderful hotels, the Piccolo, and all the stuff that she's done to not only bring people here, but keep people here. Hotel Cheval, oh my gosh, unbelievable experience to go there. And I'm not going to start touting all the restaurants in Paso, because we would be here all day. And you know, in San Luis Obispo, the changes there, it's night and day. You know, I remember when Laurent Grandjean came in, and Chris Cherry started Via Creek back in the day. That was, I mean, my local was Boosie's, which is now, you know, the Fish Gaucho, or not Fish Gaucho, Pappy McGregor's, but there just wasn't that much until those guys came in. And then it all just exploded together. The wineries got better. The wines got more diversified. We were able to try and, you know, figure out what we really did, whether it's Zinfandel early on and still, or whether it was then, you know, Cabernet, which is still huge here with the Paso Cab Collective, based in Paso, with Hospice du Rhone has done for Rhone varieties. I mean, there's so much love here. There's just the passion in this county, in these appellations, is unbelievable. And it's just so, it gives me goosebumps to think that I'm considered, you know, a part of helping that grow and establish, because that's such an honor.
Very much so. I have to say, for my own, as things were coming closer to the actual award ceremony, I'd be talking to people here, there, everywhere. Oh, wow. You know, the awardees, so cool, so deserving, etc. And all three of you, actually, everybody, you know, would have their little 2 cents. And of course, with you, Lorraine, and your role in this community, everybody just saying just the great work that J&L has done to help expand the reach of wines from our region has just been incredible. And it's awesome. It's wonderful. It's so good to have that kind of medium to help get wines out in other ways, into restaurants, as you were saying, or, you know, even into retail and other places that maybe they don't get to experience the wines directly from the producer, but somebody in Westlake Village ordering a wine that was brought into that restaurant through you is all of a sudden turned on to San Luis Obispo County or Paso.
Exactly.
You know, that right there is worth its weight in gold, is how I see it anyway. So,
Well, thank you. I agree. It's wonderful.
yeah. So, hey, Jordan, it was really cool to listen to Bill talk about you and in his kind of lead up speech in introducing you. And he is such an interesting and dynamic guy. I've met him many times over the years, but he had such great heart in his speech about you. And I think that probably speaks to kind of the atmosphere there at Epoch. I had already referenced how you guys are a bit of a family when you were all there together, you know. But talk a little bit about, though, Epoch as this brand, and as because it is, I mean, every time we see it, we, you know, and even of other people, you guys are always showing up with your Epoch branded wear, and you guys are always so like in step with one another. What a cool thing to go to work to every day.
No, totally. And that definitely, it starts at the top, you know, that was Bill and Liz's desire, dream. The one thing they wanted was to create, obviously, award-winning, awesome wine, but in a very approachable setting with great people, because wine is, at the end of the day, it's there to make people happy, right? Because we are in some of the best moments of people's lives, and you can forget about all your worries and enjoy this amazing place and have some great wine. And then the community, like I said, when they moved to Paso, they fell in love with it. And so they wanted to honor that community by creating a great place for people from the community to come, but also for people to work. And that's just remain their number one goal. And Bill always talks about sort of like work family. And we didn't know there wasn't like a recipe of like, I want to create work family and I want everyone to love work. But it's almost like you just lead by example, right? There's books that people have written from great corporations on how to, you know, create this incredible like work culture. But it definitely just starts at the top. And I mean, that's just the way Bill and Liz are. And they love wine, they love Paso. And it just, yeah, we can all feel it. And we're sort of all in it together.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, if I may, a very quick story. I was in La Cosecha picking up lunch during everything was shut down, you know, it's curbside only or whatever. We were inside, and this guy was in wearing one of those Epoch t-shirts, and I go, oh, do you work at Epoch? He goes, no, my wife does, but you know, we love it. You know, we're hearing about all these wineries that are furloughing all their employees, and they're letting her work from home, and just went on and on about how great Bill and Liz were, that they kept their staff on and, you know, kept everybody busy. And so that's, you know, that's what we need in our community. We need people that are there for each other through thick and thin. When you can. I mean, I'm not saying every business can. I mean, some people just can't. But if you can, and it's a choice, you know, if it's a choice and you make the right choice, I was just proud to know them through that. That was cool enough for me.
That was Nicole, our tasting room manager, and her husband. But it's true.
Oh.
Everyone in the tasting room, if they were part-time and wanted to keep working, they could keep working from home, because Bill said, you know, it's nobody's fault that this happened. It's happened to everyone. So we're just going to get through it. So definitely. And I mean, yeah, when we have reason to celebrate, we celebrate Epoch, you know, which is, we're so fortunate. It's a lot of the time, you know.
Yeah, you guys put on a really good 4th of July bash typically too. So.
Yes, we can't wait to have that again. We do, in Paso, we have the industry parties as different wineries or businesses honor the people that bring them business. And so Epoch's kind of claimed the 4th of July parties as our industry party every year, and to say thank you. And people started not going out of town anymore so that they can come to this party, which is so great. It's in our old barn down by the tasting room. We have Monty Mills who played on the stage when we got our awards. They were featured there one of the nights of the fair. So just good old Americana music and all the American food from animals that we bought at the fair, like, you know, hot dogs and bacon and sausage and everything. Corn, cotton
The
candy.
fair is such an integral part of, I don't know if you guys have been back at all. I haven't actually since Friday, but such a big part of this community as well, because so many people's kids are showing animals or their artwork is getting awards or whatever it might be. And but it's always supported the wine industry as well. And that it's great that these awards are able to happen at the Mid-State Fair every year. I've been fortunate to be able to put that program together now for the last 14 years. And it's a great honor to be able to be a part of all of that over these last few years. If you can believe it, we're actually already almost at an hour. We have just about 10 minutes or so left. And so I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to talk a little bit about what's going on right now in your world. How are things? How's business? Or, you know, we're coming up on harvest here pretty soon. But one thing I want to start with though is York Mountain. Sitting over there on York Mountain. I think you're what leaf are we on that new vineyard that you have?
We planted in 15, so this is the 6th leaf. That's
Sixth
right.
leaf. So we're looking at a vineyard that's like ready to show its stuff.
Yes, so we didn't take a 3rd leaf harvest, so it pretty much was like, well, I guess we had a little bit in 17. So yeah, it is York Mountain's in San Luis Obispo County, but it's not part of the Paso Robles AVA. But
it isn't, but we actually technically cover it. Like it's,
which, thank goodness you guys absorbed that, because there's the Paso map of the whole AVA and all the 11 sub districts,
well,
and then York Mountain's there, thank God. And the PRWCA includes us, because where Epoch is located on York Mountain is at the site of one of the oldest bonded wineries in the county. So it's a very historic site for San Luis Obispo County. And we now grow grapes, make wine, and sell wine in this historic location like they did in the late 1800s.
Yeah. And it's great though that even more planting. So recently I had to do a little bit of research on what's happening in York, and it's kind of happening in York Mountain right now. There's new plantings. There's some exciting wines coming out of there. Lucas, you're kind of a part of that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're seeing a lot of interest in York. Anytime any property comes for sale that's plantable, it's almost an immediate call out to go check it out. And there have been some very interesting projects come up about York Mountain. I mean, Russell and Velia have Shell Mountain right over there that they make wine from, Sauv Blanc and some Cab Franc and Petit Verdot, and then a whole bunch of Cab, which Russell's launched into his own little, it's morphed into a York Mountain Cab or Shell Mountain Cab, and it's phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then you know, there's another group of these are amazing clients. They came from Juan Mercado is from the Napa area. He helped found Realm Cellars and his partners, and they have Shadow Canyon Vineyards right next door to Russell's place. They've done some development, and a couple other big Paso names have really taken up a decent chunk of anything that's open, and it's super exciting to talk about in the future about what's going to happen there. But yeah, it's part of the frontier. We're seeing a lot of people basically work, you know, west side. They're branching farther from 101, farther west, and seeing a ton of interest out that way. And there are quite a few really, really cool projects coming online in the next couple of years, and it's such a cool part to, you know, be a piece of that little cog in that wheel that's already rolling. It's going. It's it's pretty exceptional.
And York Mountain has an interesting story in that at the time that the Paso AVA was being established, I think it was Max Goldman who was part of the conversations with like Pebble Smith and Gary Eberly and Vic Roberts, Herman Schwartz, and a few other old names to establish these lines. And there was this thought of establishing, you know, really big lines at just Ridge Line and this and County Line and Ridge Line. And it was Max who was like, well, York has different. York's not the same. It's you look at the topography, you look at the trees alone, you look at everything up there, and it's completely different than everything else that would be Paso. And so within a month of the approval of the Paso AVA, there was the approval of the York Mountain AVA. I think they're quite literally a month apart, where the lines were drawn for York versus the bigger lines that were drawn for Paso. And it was some really good foresight on his part, because now we have the 11 AVAs of Paso, and they all seem to kind of merge and you know, have butted lines and kind of work out just right with all of the other areas, well, with York Mountain and then other areas surrounding, I suppose. But it is an exciting area, hearing all of these things that are happening over there. I think it's something to watch for the future for certain. Lorraine, are there any York Mountain AVA wines though there are a lot of producers who have sourced from over there. I know for a while there was a Peachy Canyon Grenache Blanc, I think it was, or maybe it was a Chardonnay that was a York Mountain. But have you heard anything, any clients asking like, hey, what's happening with York Mountain?
Well, I used to represent Gary's Wines, the Shadow Canyon years ago, and I represent the Shell Cabernet that Russell makes from there. But you know, and then of course what Epoch does, but that's it for us. It's so small. You know, it's a tiny AVA, and I'm probably forgetting someone, but I don't know of anyone else that I have that are using the York Mountain appellation. Do you, Jordan? Do you know any? Who am I missing?
Anthony might be the other one, because there really are only, I don't know, 6 vineyards out there,
So,
maybe 7.
Calcareous has the Carver Vineyard, right? So they lease that, and then I'm not sure. Do you have their?
I don't have
Okay.
them.
So I'm not sure that.
So the Royal Non-Sunch Farm Vineyard, that would, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Mhm.
Calcareous is actually right next to the Epoch's York Mountain Vineyard. So it's kind of on the York Mountain, and then you go down on Shadow Canyon, and then there's all the other vineyards that are coming in that Lucas was mentioning. And I do think Calcareous makes a York Mountain cab, but it might not be in distribution. It might just be in their tasting room.
Well, I think it's going to be good to see what comes out of York Mountain here in the future with other investments going in there. And so maybe one of these days we'll do a Paso Wine Hour on York Mountain. All right, real quick, give you guys just a second here. What's happening? We're getting near harvest. What do you have coming up? Is there something interesting that everybody needs to know? Jordan, you go first.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we are getting ready to harvest, and as Lucas knows. But I think some of the fun things we do have we're going to do some more fun events. Like we have a really high-end musician named JP Sachs coming. I think it's August 18th. We're doing like a fun food and wine thing at Epoch. I would definitely get tickets if we're not sold out yet. I don't know, but it's going to just be a small, very intimate evening with him. And yeah, more than anything, we're just looking forward to having an awesome vintage 2021 to save, make us happy, and just like not have tons of issues and worry about, you know, not staying 6 feet apart from all the people working.
Yeah.
It'll be so awesome. The little things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Lucas, go.
This year has been very odd, and Paso's North County stuff is far beyond where South County is in ripeness. We're seeing a lot more color up here than we are in South County. Slide Hill and Center of Effort and Jesperson are just starting to show color, where most of Paso is, you know, we're getting a lot more color. So it's just a weird season for us. Super excited about what the potential is. Hopefully we just don't have any more heat and we have a good rainy season, and we're looking really good.
Cool.
Okay, so wait, Lucas said that and we got him on the phone. So but Paso's not ahead of where it normally is. It's just
no, we're tracking even up to a week or two behind where the past several years are, but we've got color, and you know, when I drive down there's not much color.
It's been cool here.
Yeah.
In South County right now, and it's been pretty cool.
And I think we're going to do a Verasion show and kind of where we are in the vineyard show here in just a couple of weeks when we come back again. And so we'll do a little checkup on where we're at by then. But in about 2 weeks from now, though, I'm going to guess that we're getting really much closer. But what do you think is an estimated start time, do you think, on some of the early varietals?
Oh, wow. For Paso, because Cuyama's
Yeah.
picking next week. I've heard from 3 people.
Wow.
We'll start pulling in some of our sparkling
Crazy.
wines. I know, it's crazy. It is crazy. We'll probably start sampling for bricks and looking at some sparkling wine in the next 4 weeks, probably.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Cool. Lorraine, share with us anything happening. Do we need to know anything that's that might be coming up, whether it's J&L Wines or maybe even whether it's Alban?
Well, we're just, we're not as seasonal as everyone else. Obviously, you have your slower times and busy times, but we're heading into our busy fall season. Menus are changing. We want to be there getting these wonderful wines on. The September releases from Epoch are coming up, on and on and on. So a lot of our allocated wines, the wines that, small amounts all come out in September, October. So we're getting ready to make sure our accounts know those are coming and just really try and work with everyone at their speed to get back to normal, to keep these businesses going and just be there as good partners for our restaurants and our retailers and our wineries. So
Excellent.
it's pedal to the metal for us.
And you know something about that with your
With my self-esteem.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for being on. Hey, next week we're going to be taking the week off. Actually, who was it? Steve, you wrote something about a restaurant in Boston. I'm actually going to be in Boston visiting some family and hopefully going out to eat a lot. A shout out to my cousin in the North End at Catalina Italiana, because I'm definitely going there to have a nice meal. But we'll be back the following week. Hopefully we're doing what's happening in the vineyard then, and we'll give you a little update on where we are with the show and how our new schedule might kind of evolve. So to Jordan, Lucas, and Lorraine, cheers to you. Thank you so much for being on, and congratulations on your awards.
Thank you. And thank you for having us on.
Yeah, it's such an honor. Thank you.
All right, right on everybody. See you next time.
Bye.